Chapters 272 and 273. The remaining 3 wind wolves of Misty Mountain seemed to have sensed something. The white monkey was leisurely resting. It suddenly sensed something unusual, a series of unfamiliar and powerful presences. Indeed, dozens of red demons emerged from a spatial gate, all of which were extremely strong, far exceeding the average development of mutated beasts on Earth. The white tiger was startled. Then came the yellow ant. The dinosaur also looked up at the sky. The eyes of the mammoth lit up. The thunder dragon flying in the sky had to stop. Within the sight of the nine-tailed fox, this army was slowly descending from the sky, covered in a faint pink glow. The golden monkey on the back of the wild boar was sweating, not knowing who these creatures were. Lin Feng's younger sister believed that these beings clearly had no good intentions and might even be enemies. Xiao Lam was also worried, with sweat covering his face. Meanwhile, on the moon, well, it no longer looked like the old moon anymore. With its vast sensing abilities, the laurel tree was loudly warning. A large number of powerful entities have been detected appearing on Earth. The mutated crocodile was shocked upon hearing this. The others gathered as well, and after learning that all these invaders were targeting Misty Mountain and that they were all transcendent fourth-order beings. Cheesy was boiling with rage upon hearing this, saying that he had only come to the moon to avoid debt, but who would have thought this would happen? The crocodile saw how worried everyone was and said that the divine tree would surely have a way, so there was no need to be overly concerned. However, the laurel tree immediately informed them that the divine tree had been missing for 3 days, and currently only the nine-tailed fox and a few other main forces remained on Earth. Ching Chang remained silent, while the phoenix admitted that, as a mythical beast, even it could not cross through space to return to Earth. There was one thing that worried the phoenix, and that was the power of these invaders. It was identical to that of the Dark King back then. So, what exactly were these red demons? Suddenly, one of the demons noticed the honey badger perched on a branch. Without saying a word, it immediately unleashed a deadly spiritual force. However, the honey badger of Misty Mountain was fast enough to jump up and dodge it. Then the entire body of the honey badger burst forth with spiritual energy, darting away in a pale blue light like a bolt of lightning. Unfortunately, this self-destructing bullet move had no effect, as it felt like it had crashed into a block of steel. A painful lump grew on the honey badger's head, causing it to cry out in pain. The red demon swung its claw, trying to grab this tiny creature. No, it was a powerful smash, and the honey badger was hit immediately. Its entire body crashed heavily into the ground, forming a large crater. The honey badger panted heavily, in pain, as if a few bones had broken. The 2 red demons didn't stop, since they were too lazy for close combat. Both demons decided to shoot another round of spiritual energy. If this hit landed, it would be the end for the honey badger. But the honey badger, its entire body in pain and unable to move, felt no fear and could only accept death. However, the golden monkey suddenly appeared and stood in the way of the strike. The golden monkey waved its hand, its face showing excitement. The 2 streams of faint red spiritual energy from the 2 demons were deflected, forming a rainbow arc, and immediately exploded in the sky. The Misty Mountain trio had assembled, wild boar, golden monkey, and honey badger, all ready to fight, displaying their most impressive stance. The red demons stared with wide eyes, showing no expression at all. This made the golden monkey feel utterly disappointed, as it had clearly tried to strike the most magnificent pose possible. The dinosaur on the other side decided to test the demon's heat resistance with its blood-light breath. The enhanced flame shot out like a flamethrower, directly targeting the enemy. Meanwhile, the mammoth also charged forward. It delivered a powerful close combat strike, piercing through a red demon's belly with its tusk. The yellow ant charged in, multiplying its strength by 4. Then it performed a series of zigzag movements, landing a sharp slash on the enemy. It was clear that the red demons were no small fry, each of them towering like a giant tree. Next, the nine-tailed fox appeared, with a mouth full of fire. Then, it dove straight down from the high sky, shining brilliantly like a meteor. She declared that before solving her doubts, she would take action first. Then she exhaled a deadly flame, pure to the extreme, enveloping the enemy like a solar storm, creating a massive explosion. The flames dissipated, leaving the demons' bodies completely blackened, but it seemed like they weren't seriously injured, right? With that previous strike, 2 of the monsters had been taken down, while the remaining ones, being quicker, managed to leap into the sky to evade. Up above was the commander of the Red Demon Legion, a demon with 4 wings that had already reached transcendent 5th order. The spiritual energy radiating from it immediately caught the fox's attention. She hadn't expected such a powerful being to be present. As soon as it appeared, the other demons immediately kneeled. It turned out that this commander had arrived later and began descending from the sky. Even its gaze was different from the others. As it landed, it asked, "Who killed Gyujit?" It seemed that this Gyujit they spoke of was the Dark King, right? If so, then it was clear they were here for revenge, which was why they targeted Misty Mountain. The 9-tailed fox seemed to have realized something, her mind actively calculating without daring to act recklessly. The Thunder Dragon quickly approached the 9-tailed fox, and the fox immediately ordered the Thunder Dragon to gather everyone, as this guy was clearly no ordinary being. The commanding monster crossed its arms, as if waiting for a response from the mutated beasts below. The yellow ant guessed that the arrogant alien above was probably the commander of this group. Its aura was indeed different, especially the spiritual energy it emitted, dense and overwhelming. Unconsciously, none of the mutated beasts below dared to act. The commander waited for a moment without hearing any response, then spoke up once more. "Who killed Gyujit?" It glanced at the mammoth and dinosaur, confirming it wasn't either of them. Looking over at the yellow ant, it also said it wasn't it. 9-tailed fox? No, not her either. From the spatial gate, even more alien beasts appeared, while the commander declared that it hadn't found any sufficiently powerful source of energy here. Therefore, it and its people would decide to split up and search on their own. Meanwhile, at the Federal Spiritual Energy Surveillance Bureau of China, they received news that a military base in Bor had been attacked by strange beasts and had turned into a wasteland. The videos showed creatures they had never seen before, each over 10 meters tall, blood-red, with a single large eye and 2 horns. The gaze of that creature immediately made the female director feel terrified. Because that gaze was very similar to that of the Dark King. This news threw the entire room into chaos. The staff frantically typed up reports, indicating that the long-range waves they collected from the beast's spiritual energy shared many similarities with the Dark King. The female director had no doubt left. What mattered now was to determine if these creatures had appeared in the Chinese Federation. The female staff member, sweating profusely, looked at the map and hastily reported that they had already appeared in China and were gathering at Misty Mountain. At Misty Mountain, pale pink spiritual energy beams descended from the sky, creating tremendous tremors. Lin Feng's younger sister and Xiao Lam directed the mutated beast to move to safer areas. Lin Feng emerged from a shadow, hurriedly asking, "Ling Yu and Xiao Lam, are you all okay?" Ling Yu was his sister's name. Xiao Lam anxiously asked what was happening and who those strange creatures were. But even Lin Feng didn't know, only that the 9-tailed fox was fighting them, and Xiao Lam should quickly lead everyone there. Suddenly, a massive foot stomped down on the ground, blocking their path. A gigantic red demon was staring at them intently. Without a word, it immediately fired spiritual energy. Its energy was like molten lava, forcing Lin Feng to condense his shadow power to block it. Fortunately, Lin Feng was not weak. He successfully shielded all the mutated beasts behind him using his spiritual energy. From this angle, it was clear that the enemy's attack radius was quite large. Xiao Lam immediately activated her treasure-seeking eyes. She discovered a red core at the back of the monster's neck. She quickly informed her teammates that if they could pierce through the enemy's neck, they would be able to kill it instantly. The monster stomped down towards Ling Yu with one foot, but she dodged it. Then she quickly ran up along its leg. Ling Yu then conjured a blue spiritual energy blade, planning to slash the monster's neck. However, despite the strength of her slash, it failed to cause any significant damage. This left Ling Yu astonished. After her attack, only a few scratches and small dents appeared on its head. At that moment, Lin Feng charged straight at it, delivering a powerful blow to the exact spot his sister had just attacked, and this time the monster's neck was pierced. Ling Yu called out her brother's name, while Lin Feng roared at her to get out of the way. Because this was the moment when Lin Feng would unleash his strongest spiritual energy. He began to brace himself, letting out a roar. As expected, a terrifying burst of dark energy erupted, transforming Lin Feng into a warhead that drilled straight into the monster's head. Its neck was shattered, exposing the radiant light within. However, Xiao Lam said that the attack was still too shallow and couldn't destroy the monster's core. Damn it! The monster began to counterattack in that split second, sending Lin Feng flying. Ling Yu screamed, wondering how they could get a large enough blade to chop off its head now. The monster was truly enraged. Its previous strike had been incredibly painful, and it shrieked like a madman. Strange dark marks began to appear all over its body. Perhaps this was its rage mode. However, before it could demonstrate its full rage power, an enormous blade pierced straight through its head. It was the Mantis Queen. Look at that! Misty Mountain still has some giants yet to reveal themselves. Lin Feng and his sister landed on a nearby rock, witnessing the giant queen executing the alien creature. Xiao Lam was stunned, not understanding why the Mantis Queen had appeared here. Well, at least the situation was resolved. Being big definitely has its advantages. And when the queen's scythe came down, the entire body of the monster was sliced in two, revealing a brilliant golden substance inside. At that moment, another foot appeared. Xiao Lam turned around to look. It was the white monkey with its eyes glowing brightly, and behind it seemed to be the Spider-Man guy. End of chapter 273. See you all tomorrow.